Tornado traveled 18 miles, cutting a path diagonally through Wayne. One of the first in its path, the Krusmark family farm. Matt, Tracy, and their 3 young daughters took shelter as that twister tore their home apart.
Well, that day was actually a lot like you're seeing today, but a lot more humid. Clouds that were just kind of moving in different directions.
Tracy Krusmark was driving home that afternoon and would soon learn those clouds hid a destructive secret.
On my drive home, I heard it on the radio that there was possibility of severe storms.
Tracy's husband, Matt, was home at their acreage south of Wayne and turned on the TV.
I can remember Ron DeMar saying, "This is a very serious situation."
So, folks, this is a very, very dangerous situation. National Weather Service here calling it a life-threatening situation.
And that kind of hit me because I said, "Girls, let's go downstairs. Let's get in the tornado shelter."
With the girls and Tracy in the shelter, Matt went outside to try and spot the twister headed for his home.
My wife kept saying, "Matt, you need to get inside." And I said, "I'll see it coming." And then she hollers out, "They just said it's going to be a rain-wrapped tornado. You're not going to see it, you're just going to hear it." And at that moment, I said, "Run," because I could hear it destroying the house right up the hill. I grabbed the tornado shelter door, pulled it shut, and I seen the trees go flying by the basement window. I guess then I pulled the door shut, and I think the house was gone.
After the tornado had passed, Matt opened the door and was shocked by what he saw.
I just remember opening the door slowly. I could see daylight. The house was gone.
I remember thinking we had one standing wall in our house. It was kind of in the middle of the house, and we had one standing wall, but otherwise, no vehicles, no barns. It was just a lot of stuff everywhere.
When the sun rose the next morning, the Krusmarks returned to the rubble that was once their home, and they wept.
We came back. We both lost it.
Sad for what they had lost.
But then everybody showed back up. We went about our day.
Grateful for the hundreds of volunteers who came to clear debris and search for anything they could salvage.
It wasn't so much what are we going to do, just because I knew people would help take care of us, but looking around, what do you do to get all that stuff back?
The Krusmarks stayed with family for a while. One Good Samaritan even took his home, which was for sale, off the market and let the family stay there.
That was great. I mean, one of the best phone calls we could get.
19 months after the tornado took everything, the Krusmarks moved into their new home, built just a few yards from the spot where the old one once stood. When the Krusmarks built their new home, they made sure it had one special feature.
A tornado shelter, and a really good one.
Concrete, walls, ceiling, heavy steel door.
And it's going to be really safe.
So the next time severe weather strikes, the Krusmarks can weather the storm again. And Ron, I asked Matt Krusmark specifically if he thought there was a reason why he and his family survived. He told me to live life to its fullest every day.